Hello students, so today we will be studying about motion. What is motion, how we will define motion and how the brain understands or it differentiates between motion and rest. Let's talk about motion. Now, if we talk about motion, let's say this is our home and from our home we left in a car, right? Now let's say there is a situation in which we are not able to see outside the car and any of the voice which is coming from the outside is not coming, right? We are not able to see outside the car and there is no voice which is coming from the outside. In that case, our brain will get sometimes confused that whether we are in motion or the car is standing in the position of rest, right? Why this happens? This happens because in order to calculate or in order to tell whether we are in motion or we are in the state of rest, our brain calculates our position with respect to some reference point. The brain needs a reference point to calculate the position, and if the position of ourself of our body is changing with respect to that reference point over the interval of time, then our brain says yes, we are in motion. Otherwise it says no, we are at rest, we are not in motion. So if we are not able to see outside, we will not be able to see any reference point which is located outside. Thus, our brain will see a point or look for a point inside the car. Let's say our brain looks for the steering wheel of the car. Now, whether the car is moving or is at rest, the steering wheel of the car will remain at the same distance, at the same position with respect to ourself over the interval of time. Thus, in that case, our brain will tell us no, the position of the steering wheel, which the brain has chosen as a reference point, is not changing. Thus, it will conclude we are at rest. But it is not necessary we are at rest because we are not able to see outside. Maybe we are moving with 100 km per hour velocity. It may happen. So that means or that tells you that whether we are in motion or we are at rest, it is defined by the reference point. It is not defined by ourselves or by the body which is in motion or which is at rest. So reference point is very, very important. I would like to give you one more example. Let's say you are good in mathematics and you are poor in social science. Right now, if you go and ask your social science teacher, she will certainly tell you you need to improve, you need to work hard, right? And if you go to your mathematics teacher, she will tell you no, it's you are very good boy and you are studying very good and that's how you should study. So that means you are good also, you are bad also, but at the same moment of time, it depends upon the teacher with whom you are talking or from where you are taking the feedback. Similarly, motion and rest, it depends on the reference point whether the body will be in motion or will be at rest. So we can say that motion is a relative term. So at the same moment of time, you will be moving also or you will be at stationary also. So a body can be in motion or state of rest at the same moment of time. Moment of time. And it is not decided by the body itself. It is decided by the reference point. Okay, so let's say, so we can conclude that motion is a relative term. Relative means in comparison to. Relative means in comparison. Okay, so when our brain will compare the position and if the position will change with respect to time, the brain will say yes, we are in motion. And if the position is not changing with respect to a reference point over the interval of time, then our brain will conclude no, we are not in motion, we are at rest. Now let's talk about types of motion. There are multitudes of motion, but first of all, we will discuss about motion in one dimension, one dimension, that means we are moving in a straight line. It rarely happens body moves in a straight line. Then the second one is motion in two dimension, motion in two dimension, or you can say plane, motion in a plane. And the third one is motion in three dimension, or you can say motion in space. Okay, so we will be studying all the three type of motion, but in class 10th, class 9th, if we will be studying more precisely about motion in one dimension. Because, and what is the need of studying motion in one dimension? When I'm saying it is practically rarely it happens that body moves in a straight line. Why we are studying motion in one dimension? It is due to certain parameters. To understand certain parameters like displacement, distance, velocity, speed, acceleration, we study motion in one dimension. So by studying motion, by constructing the body moves in a straight line, we will be able to define the terms like speed, velocity, acceleration, and we will be able to understand it in a very best way. And then in the further classes, we can proceed to motion in two dimension and motion in three dimension. So uh, I I think that you will be able to understand this, and in the next class, certainly we will be going to study about motion in one dimension in more detail and the associated terms. Thank you.